you feeling today, Bunny?
Can't tell how I feel.
Can't tell how you feel.
Fairly nervous about the environment.
It's very rainy. So we're pretty fucked up after what happened yesterday. And my research concluded that Bulgaria is not a very LGBTQ friendly place. There have been hate crimes in this city. If I'd known that, we wouldn't have come here. And we're here for a month, so we're going to the police station now to show them the footage I got of this man harassing us, and we'll see what happens. Can you say anything about how you feel?
I just feel uncomfortable. I don't feel good.
Low pressure too. So we're at the precinct, we're at the police precinct, and we spoke to someone who is going to get a statement, and they're going to try and track down this fellow. And she was very sweet and kind. And how does it feel to you? Do you feel scared?
Yeah, it's you wonder if this person could show up at any place.
Yeah.
I mean, if that happens, then I will behave in the most violent way in defense that I can. But still, you get injured no matter what happens, because that's what happens. Engagement means injury. But
I'm wondering if we should get pepper spray or something like that.
oh,
I was thinking about that last night, about some kind of defensive mechanism, so if we ever saw him or if someone did that again, that we had something to just spray and get away.
yeah, it's not so bad an idea. I mean,
Thank you.
Yeah, we are like a movie theater.
like a movie theater.
Okay, I would like to visit one of your concerts.
Oh,
Okay.
that's so sweet of
I'll
you.
try to find you.
Okay. But you sent me an email, so I can send you one.
I sent him an email too.
Okay.
So if you would like to share a location of your next performance with me, I'll be glad.
Oh, okay. I will do that.
We'll stay in touch. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
It
much.
was a pleasure. Bye.
See you soon. Thank you. So who feels better? Me! Me! Do you feel better, honey?
A little.
Yeah. Thank you, honey. Are you crying? Why?
Probably the low pressure and everything.
Yeah. Good food helps, doesn't it? Yeah. Oh, poor baby's crying. Got two. Got a second one. It's so good. We're back behind this big hill. Just went grocery shopping.
Where would we be able to get pepper spray from?
Hey, boobies. Oh, you're friendly. Okay, that's all right. Yeah. Hello. Hi. Hello, one and all. Hello, one and all. They are friendly. Hey, babies. They like it. Kittens everywhere. An interesting way to go. Mr. Gerard. We should know these people. They should hear us. This is Lisa Gerard and the Bulgarian choir. Wow.
Why like that?
Or maybe it's filming,
Oh, I see. It's moving.
so just for a reference. Did we have a nice evening?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Was it tender?
Yeah.
I love the purses. First time getting up before 8 in a long time. Okay, so I had the most vivid dream I've had in, I can't even remember when the last time I had a dream like this. Probably when I was a kid. I dreamed that I was the prom queen of my high school, but it wasn't your regular prom. It was one of the fanciest things I'd ever been part of. And I was given, I had my own dress made, and it lit up, so they had to like turn on my dress before I went into the theater. And it was a theater. It was like this huge theater, like the biggest theater I'd ever seen. And I remember it being very competitive energy around me, very catty, because I knew that people were not so happy with me being in this position, because in high school I was very picked on, and people didn't like me very much or didn't understand me. And so I remember them turning my dress on and how amazing I felt going into this theater. And before I went in, I had asked someone about a performance that their wife was invited to do, and that I was just curious how they were able to get such a huge role like that. And the man said, "Oh, well, my parents are the directors." And I just pat them on the shoulder and said, "Oh," as I went into the theater. And it was like I knew that the reason she had gotten in because her parents were her husband's parents were the directors, not because she was really right for the part or anything. So it was that kind of cattiness going on. And I remember going into the theater and the amazing feeling of it, and I was the most beautifully dressed. I had this incredible ball gown that had handmade, and it was all glowing, and I could feel it glowing, I could see it glowing, and people looked amazing, and I'd done my own makeup, this amazing theatrical makeup, and I had the most beautiful, stunning headdress that was full of diamonds and emeralds and these huge crystals and jewels just piled up on my head. It was amazing. So I just felt like a princess. And just the most amazing costume that I'd ever worn. And I was prepared to sing two pieces, two operatic pieces, and it was a competition. It wasn't just a prom. It was a performance competition thing. And then I went into the theater, and it was full of all of my high school, all these people from my high school who were petty and who picked on me and who were preppy and cliquey and all of this stuff that I never got along with. Megan Roddick was sitting in front of me. I think Alex Gulbis was there, Cameron Walker, Chase Sanders, all these people that used to pick on me or were very competitive with me when I was a kid. And people I was envious of because they were so much more popular than me and had friends when I had none. And there were judges, so you couldn't sit with where the judges were sitting. So I got a seat in the middle, and everybody got settled, and the theater was just full of thousands and thousands of people, all from high school or their parents or, that kind of stuff. And then the announcer was speaking and welcoming everyone, and then just spoke directly to me and said, "How do you feel about being the prom queen? It must be an amazing feeling. It must be an amazing experience." And I just very simply and honestly said like this. I said, most people are not very happy about it. I think most people don't like me. I've always been misunderstood and picked on and judged in school. So I don't think they're very happy about it. I think they prefer for Megan Roddick to be prom queen. And I pat her on the shoulder. She was sitting in front of me. And so once I said that, then all of a sudden, almost like everyone had decided all at once in advance to do this, that all these people, like thousands of people, stood up, that were all on the outskirts of the theater, sitting, further away from the center. Maybe everybody except the seniors from my year got up all simultaneously and started walking out of the theater all at once. And they were all being very mean and saying things to me and just giving me dirty looks, and they were all very unhappy with what was happening. So they'd all decided to like boycott the experience. And I remember one saying, good luck with your life, Leila, you know, see how your life goes. It's just one, and then I woke up just now at like 7:45. It was like one of the most vivid dreams, that kind of dream where there was no dreaminess to it. It wasn't nothing was not real about it. It seemed very real. So it's just crazy. Just woke up from it. Okay, so we were verbally Thoth specifically was verbally threatened with violence by a stranger in the park the other day after playing. So tell everybody what happened and how you feel.
Well, I don't feel really wonderful right now, but everything's very complicated in my feelings right now, so it's hard to really pinpoint what's happening to me. I was in full expression on that day. Was that Sunday?
That was Sunday, yeah.
And I was fairly optimistic about what it felt like to play, because it was people gathered and they watched and they applauded.
Mm-hmm.
And a particular person watched for pretty much the entire time. At one end of the gazebo, or the whatever it was called. And when I finished, he came over, and my immediate feeling, even though I can feel and intuit that not everybody likes me and likes what I do and likes how I am and likes the passion that I express. I didn't expect this person to be doing anything that was negative or bad, but they came over and asked if I was a shaman, and any person who makes that comment to me is usually kind of raises my raises a kind of feeling. And it's not, I don't go, oh yeah, I'm a shaman, because I don't like the word necessarily as applicable to me. It's, I don't care if somebody calls me a shaman, because then I'm not supposing or presupposing anything. I'm an expressive being. I express myself fully with using a violin, my voice, and movement. And that is what I do. When people call it a shamanistic, or when they're applying to it some kind of criteria that they adopted or something, and I don't really necessarily accept that. I'm very relaxed about it, but I don't. And so when he started saying that and asked me if I was shaman, I didn't say I was. I said, well, some people have called me that. And from that point, it kind of deteriorated slowly, but deteriorated from what seemed like a somewhat positive statement to, I don't like what you do, or I don't like you, I don't like it. Whatever, he didn't like something. And it's quite probable he didn't like the amount of passion and the type of voice I had. Probably didn't like anything I did. Because it's not gender-based, it's expressive-based. And so he eventually got to the point of threatening that if he saw me again, he would beat me. And that kind of statement's very problematic, because you can see that person anywhere. And so basically he's saying if he sees me again, he's going to beat me. And that's threatening, and that creates a lot of anxiety about having to experience that, because whether I will turn into a maniac and be a berserker when somebody like that were to attack me, still one gets injured, and injury is without doubt going to occur, and I don't want to be injured. So it created in me a lot of fear and a lot of annoyance and a lot of wonderment about, again, because I don't think about people disliking me so much. People look at me a lot, but I don't think of them disliking me. I just let it go and let them have what they have and move on. A lot of people want to push their discomfort on me, and I'm not doing anything to be discomforting to anybody. I'm just adorning myself with clothing that even in the Roman times a Roman man would have been wearing. Togas and skirts, and tiny skirts, much smaller than women. Women didn't wear any small skirts. So it's mostly I have to deal with somebody who's stupid, because they think they're being intelligent and they're being critical and censorious and controlling of of what he calls the gay or the pedophiles or the people like myself, as he calls me. So it becomes that one has to deal with somebody who's unintelligent and stupid, who has the belligerence to want to control the environment and threatens to do so, even though they're not intelligent enough to know what that is. And so it's difficult. It makes me feel uncomfortable.
And there was someone in the comment section in the video of that, the video that I shared of that happening, who said most likely the police, I was saying we will go to the police, which we did yesterday, and claimed that the police would probably be siding with this bully, and that this individual probably knows more about his own country than you do. So him saying whatever he said about we don't like gays in our country, filming him is illegal, etc., which we knew was bullshit and was all, him just having his own prejudice. That somebody would claim that kind of statement was correct, and that is something that a local person should say to a foreigner, is really kind of disgusting. And we were very lucky that the policeman that we did speak to was incredibly kind, and we're going to play for him. He offered to do an interview for us for our channel, which we'll do.
And that's also prejudice when somebody says that and passes on information that they don't know anything about, and that they say a bunch of stuff, because the policeman's dealing with that too. He is talking about how a lot of people pass on that same information. Yeah,
that Bulgaria, for example, is a country full of homophobic people, which is not true. He made it very clear that news medias and social media outlets paint Bulgaria as being a homophobic country, and Eastern European countries are homophobic in general, and it's not true.
In our comments, people continued saying that.
Yeah, and people say, be careful, you know, those countries can be homophobic or can be non-accepting. People claiming that the further east we go, the less accepting people will be. It's people have this projection of these countries as being this way, and because one individual comes at Thoth and comes at me in this way, that then people continue to say, well, these countries are this way. And it's not true. It's just one individual who's off his rocker, one individual who's not all there, you know, has this prejudice and sees him and says this stuff. I mean, you really can't be in your right mind to say what he said to Thoth.
I also feel really good about how I behaved and responded to him. I'm pretty trained in neutrality and non-aggressive behavior. So I did really well in dealing with him, because he really was trying very hard to try to have me do something that he could start upping the physical violence.
Yes.
But I didn't, and I then several times made motions to move and leave, and he didn't have anything to beat on.
Right. He is, what it seems like to me is that he wanted to be triggered by something you said. He initially said, are you a shaman? And then he was going to try and use that to attack you. You said, well, people have called me that, but you never made any claim. You also made no statements, you know, saying anything. Yes, I'm gay. Yes, I'm or I have this way of life. You said nothing. You were very neutral towards him and kind, actually. You smiled at him until he said, well, I don't like it. So he was, it's those things, it's fighting words. When people say the things that he said, he was ready for you as a man, and him being a man, that you were then going to fight. And because you backed away and you de-escalated and you pulled back every chance you got, it created no ability for him to attack you.
I find that it's ironic, because he's attacking me from a place of my being a different type of male, and my different type of maleness is one of peace and love, and doesn't get into that kind of uproariousness.
Mm-hmm.
And that's interesting, because he's hating it.
Right. And we live in a society that encourages men to be very aggressive and forward and toxic and this kind of way. And you not being that way protected you and me from it getting worse. Yes, if you were preforming and he came at you that way, you might have gone nuts and cut his head off with, you know, just been very... If he attacked you, you would have probably gone nuts.
He would have to come from someplace. He was unable to do that.
Yeah, you were not saying or doing anything to give him any reason to attack you. He wanted you to. He was really trying to validate why he was doing what he was doing, and was very afraid of the camera. You know, from looking back at the footage, I could see that he said about 4 or 5 times, "You can't film me, you can't film me."
Well, if you're going to be threatening, yes, we'll film you.
Yeah, and
whether you like it or not, because you don't have any right to be threatening either.
Right. No, what it is it's illegal to verbally threaten someone with violence. So for me to get that on film, and I don't have pepper spray, which I will be getting soon. But I didn't have anything like that to protect us, so I was very keen of using the camera as like a shield. And I hoped that by filming him that he would stop. I hoped by filming him that he would stop doing what he was doing, but instead he used that as something to try and egg himself on to be more aggressive. And I really don't understand the pedophile gay thing. What, calling you gay, you're wearing a dress. You're not gay.
He was calling me all sorts of names.
Yeah. But then calling you
Pedophile.
a pedophile is like, what does that mean? Why would he say something like that? I guess it's because we're in a public park and there are kids around watching, and maybe you're using your music and your short, skimpy dresses to try and get little kids or something. I mean, what a horrible thing to intimate about you.
Yeah, he is intimating something.
Yeah. And, by the end, while we are walking away, he's saying, are you a pedophile? Are you a...
Yeah, he upped the language.
Yeah, because he was wanting you to come at him, and you didn't. I don't think he would have attacked you unless you went at him first. Maybe. I don't know. But again, he was being very aggressive and saying, I'll beat you, when you're just sitting there doing nothing.
Yes, I haven't really gotten over it.
No, nor have I. I think it's going to take a while. So how did you feel about going to the police station?
It was a movie.
It's a movie.
Yeah. Everybody, we see the people were so interesting looking. Everything was so different, and so I enjoyed myself watching everybody and watching people behave, and the different officers coming in. So I've also been very aware that there's the body types here are very specific. So I just found that interesting.
Yeah.
And the police officer was really, really kind and sweet.
Yeah, you're right. The Bulgarian men are very manly. They're very macho. They're very
hairy, very
strong.
They have a certain thick body type.
Yeah, and clothing style that's very, very in line with their gender. It's very much in this country, what I've seen so far is it's females are very female and males are very male. There's really not a lot I've not really seen anything in the middle. So that's understandable that he would be unusual, and people definitely give you, double takes and looks up and down all the time. But I can't assume that they then want to kill him. It's just not usual to see. And yes, this officer was extremely kind.
Well, I don't know why somebody wants to kill somebody without, if that person is doing nothing. It's it's a projection of their own violent nature, their own criminal thoughts.
Very strange.
Because when I performed, I was so in such a state of expressive love and passion.
Yeah, you're not being aggressive.
There's nothing to do with sex.
No, and you're not being violent. You're just being extremely expressive. And I can understand that might be confusing for people. It might be difficult for people to process. But for people to then twist it around and say, oh, he's a faggot and he's a pedophile and he's just twisting it to make it seem like you're evil. And being gay is not evil, but in their mind trying to make you into something that you're not. It's very sad. But yes, the police officer was so kind, so apologetic, and he was very clear about the fact that this man will be found and apprehended and either fined heavily or arrested. So that was helpful to know. Did that help you?
Well, that was surprising because I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was surprising.
Yeah, it was surprising. Another wrap.
What did you get? Did you get the seeds?
Yeah. Just found a little health food store, or a big one. Look at what we found. It's so cool. Yay. Health food store. We're always looking for healthy food and, ways to nourish ourselves when we first arrive somewhere new.